The climate crisis refers to the urgent and severe changes happening to our planet's climate system. These changes are mainly caused by human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels, which releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. As a result, the Earth's temperature is rising at an unprecedented rate. This warming leads to a cascade of environmental problems, including more frequent and intense weather events, rising sea levels, and disruptions to ecosystems. Understanding the climate crisis is the first step toward addressing it. In this video, we'll explore what the climate crisis is, why it matters, and what can be done to slow or reverse its effects. To understand the climate crisis, it's important to know how Earth's climate system works. The climate system is a complex interaction between the atmosphere, oceans, land, and living things. Energy from the sun drives weather patterns and ocean currents, while greenhouse gases trap some of this energy, keeping the planet warm enough to support life. However, when the balance is disrupted, the climate can change rapidly. Human activities have increased the concentration of greenhouse gases, tipping this balance and causing global temperatures to rise. Greenhouse gases are substances in the atmosphere that trap heat from the sun. The most common greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These gases are naturally present in the atmosphere, but human activities like burning coal, oil, and gas, as well as deforestation and agriculture, have significantly increased their levels. This enhanced greenhouse effect is the main driver of the climate crisis, as it leads to global warming and widespread environmental changes. The greenhouse effect is a natural process that keeps Earth warm. Sunlight passes through the atmosphere and warms the planet's surface. Some of this heat is radiated back towards space, but greenhouse gases absorb and re-emit some of it, trapping warmth in the atmosphere. Without this effect, Earth would be too cold for life. However, too many greenhouse gases cause excessive warming, leading to the climate crisis we face today. The primary cause of the current climate crisis is human activity. Burning fossil fuels for electricity, transportation, and industry releases large amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Deforestation reduces the planet's ability to absorb carbon dioxide, while agriculture and waste management contribute methane and nitrous oxide. These activities have dramatically increased the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, accelerating global warming. One of the most visible signs of the climate crisis is the steady increase in global temperatures. Since the late 19th century, the average surface temperature of the Earth has risen by about 1.1 degrees Celsius. This may not sound like much, but even small changes in temperature can have major impacts on weather patterns, sea levels, and ecosystems. The last decade has been the warmest on record, highlighting the urgency of the crisis. As the planet warms, glaciers and polar ice caps are melting at an alarming rate. This melting contributes to rising sea levels, which threaten coastal communities and ecosystems. In addition, the loss of ice reduces the Earth's ability to reflect sunlight, causing even more warming. These changes are already being observed in the Arctic and Antarctic, where ice loss is accelerating. The climate crisis is making extreme weather events more frequent and severe. Heat waves, droughts, floods, hurricanes, and wildfires are becoming more common and intense. These events can devastate communities, destroy infrastructure, and lead to loss of life. Scientists have linked many recent disasters to climate change, showing that the crisis is not a distant threat but a present reality. Oceans play a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate. However, the climate crisis is causing oceans to warm, become more acidic, and lose oxygen. These changes threaten marine life, coral reefs, and fisheries that millions of people depend on for food and livelihoods. Ocean warming also contributes to stronger storms and disrupts global weather patterns. The climate crisis is disrupting ecosystems around the world. Many plants and animals are struggling to adapt to changing temperatures and shifting habitats. Some species face extinction, while others migrate to new areas, altering the balance of entire ecosystems. These changes can have ripple effects, threatening biodiversity and the services that healthy ecosystems provide to humanity. The climate crisis is not just an environmental issue, it's also a major threat to human health. Rising temperatures can cause heat-related illnesses and deaths. Changing weather patterns can spread diseases, worsen air quality, and reduce access to clean water and food. Vulnerable populations, such as children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing conditions, are especially at risk. The economic impacts of the climate crisis are far-reaching. Extreme weather damages, infrastructure, disrupts supply chains, and increases insurance costs. Agriculture suffers from droughts and floods, leading to food shortages and higher prices. Addressing the climate crisis now can help avoid even greater economic losses in the future. The climate crisis can also lead to social and political challenges. Displacement from rising seas and extreme weather can create climate refugees. Competition for resources like water and food may increase tensions within and between countries. Addressing these challenges requires international cooperation and strong leadership. Climate justice recognizes that the impacts of the climate crisis are not felt equally. Poorer communities and developing countries often suffer the most, despite contributing the least to greenhouse gas emissions. Climate justice calls for fair solutions that protect vulnerable populations and ensure everyone has a voice in decision-making. Scientists warn that the climate system has tipping points thresholds where small changes can trigger dramatic and irreversible shifts. Examples include the collapse of ice sheets or the dieback of rainforests. Crossing these tipping points could accelerate the climate crisis and make it much harder to reverse. Feedback loops are processes that can amplify climate change. For example, as ice melts, less sunlight is reflected and more is absorbed, causing more warming and more melting. Similarly, thawing permafrost releases methane, a potent greenhouse gas, which leads to further warming. Understanding feedback loops is crucial to grasping the urgency of the climate crisis. To address the climate crisis, countries have come together to create international agreements like the Paris Agreement. These agreements set targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and encourage cooperation. While progress has been made, much more needs to be done to meet global climate goals and prevent the worst impacts. One of the most effective ways to combat the climate crisis is to transition to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower. These sources produce electricity without emitting greenhouse gases. Investing in renewable energy can reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and help slow global warming. Improving energy efficiency is another key strategy. This means using less energy to perform the same tasks, such as heating, cooling, or transportation. Energy-efficient buildings, vehicles, and appliances can significantly reduce emissions and save money at the same time. Transportation is a major source of greenhouse gas emissions. Shifting to sustainable options like electric vehicles, public transit, biking, and walking can help reduce our carbon footprint. Cities around the world are investing in cleaner transportation to fight the climate crisis. Forests act as carbon sinks, absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Protecting and restoring forests is essential for slowing the climate crisis. Efforts to stop deforestation and promote reforestation can make a significant difference in reducing greenhouse gas levels. Agriculture is both a victim and a contributor to the climate crisis. Sustainable farming practices, such as crop rotation, reduced tillage, and organic methods, can lower emissions and help farms adapt to changing conditions. Supporting local and sustainable food systems is another way to make a positive impact. Reducing waste is another important step in addressing the climate crisis. Landfills produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Recycling, composting, and reducing single-use plastics can all help lower emissions and conserve resources. Even as we work to reduce emissions, we must also adapt to the changes already underway. This includes building resilient infrastructure, protecting vulnerable communities, and developing early warning systems for extreme weather. Adaptation helps minimize the damage caused by the climate crisis. Technology can play a major role in solving the climate crisis. Innovations like carbon capture, smart grids, and climate modeling help us reduce emissions and prepare for future changes. Continued investment in research and development is essential for finding new solutions. Everyone can contribute to addressing the climate crisis. Simple steps like conserving energy, reducing waste, eating less meat, and supporting clean energy can make a difference. When individuals act together, the impact can be significant. Communities around the world are taking action to fight the climate crisis. Local governments, organizations, and citizens are working together to plant trees, promote public transit, and support renewable energy projects. These grassroots efforts are essential for building momentum and inspiring change. Raising awareness about the climate crisis is crucial for inspiring action. Education helps people understand the causes, impacts, and solutions. Schools, media, and community programs all play a role in spreading knowledge and motivating change. Young people are leading the charge in demanding action on the climate crisis. Youth activists have organized global strikes, raised awareness, and pushed leaders to take bold steps. Their voices are powerful reminders that the future depends on the choices we make today. Businesses have a major role to play in addressing the climate crisis. Many companies are setting emissions targets, investing in clean energy, and developing sustainable products. Corporate responsibility is essential for driving large-scale change and meeting climate goals. Government policies are critical for tackling the climate crisis. Laws and regulations can set emissions limits, promote renewable energy, and support adaptation efforts. Effective policies require strong leadership and public support to succeed. Climate science provides the foundation for understanding the crisis. Scientists use data from satellites, weather stations, and computer models to track changes and predict future impacts. Their research helps guide policy and inform the public. Climate models are powerful tools that simulate how the Earth's climate might change under different scenarios. These models take into account greenhouse gas emissions, land use, and other factors. They help scientists and policymakers plan for the future and assess the effectiveness of different solutions. A carbon footprint measures the total greenhouse gas emissions caused by an individual, organization, or product. Reducing your carbon footprint can involve using less energy, choosing sustainable products, and changing travel habits. Every reduction helps slow the climate crisis. Net zero emissions means balancing the amount of greenhouse gases emitted with the amount removed from the atmosphere. Achieving net zero is a key goal for stopping the climate crisis. This requires reducing emissions as much as possible and using methods like reforestation and carbon capture to offset what remains. Climate adaptation involves making changes to live with the impacts of the climate crisis. This can include building flood defenses, developing drought-resistant crops, and improving emergency response systems. Adaptation is necessary to protect people and communities from the effects of climate change. Mitigation refers to efforts to reduce or prevent the emission of greenhouse gases. This includes switching to clean energy, improving efficiency, and protecting forests. Mitigation is essential for limiting the severity of the climate crisis and securing a safer future. Loss and damage refers to the harms caused by climate change that cannot be avoided through mitigation or adaptation. This includes loss of lives, livelihoods, and cultural heritage. Addressing loss and damage is a key issue in international climate negotiations. Climate finance involves funding for projects that help reduce emissions or adapt to climate change. This includes investments in renewable energy, infrastructure, and disaster relief. Developed countries have pledged to support developing nations in their efforts to address the climate crisis. Nature-based solutions use the power of ecosystems to address the climate crisis. Examples include restoring wetlands, planting trees, and protecting mangroves. These solutions can absorb carbon, reduce flooding, and support biodiversity. A circular economy aims to reduce waste and make the most of resources by reusing, repairing, and recycling products. This approach can lower emissions, conserve resources, and create new jobs. Moving toward a circular economy is an important part of solving the climate crisis. Effective communication is key to building support for climate action. This means sharing clear, accurate information about the crisis and its solutions. Storytelling, visuals, and community engagement can all help make the message resonate. Despite the urgency, there are many barriers to addressing the climate crisis. These include political resistance, economic interests, misinformation, and lack of awareness. Overcoming these obstacles requires persistence, collaboration, and innovation. While the climate crisis is a serious challenge, there is hope. Advances in technology, growing public awareness, and international cooperation are making a difference. By working together and taking bold action, we can build a more sustainable and resilient future for all. The climate crisis is one of the greatest challenges of our time, affecting every aspect of life on Earth. By understanding the causes, impacts, and solutions, we can all play a part in creating positive change. The choices we make today will shape the world for generations to come. Let's work together to protect our planet and secure a better future.